This week we're breaking down two completely different ways that you could light one room. First we'll work with natural light to get this look, and then we'll try something entirely different with artificial lights for a film noir kind of look. We can always start with the location. I'm choosing this spot because we've got 3 windows to let in lots of light. We position the camera where the front window is acting as a key light and the other 2 are illuminating our background. You can see from the diagram that the sun is giving us direct light through the windows. This shot would look very different if the sun was on the other side. Also, it's really bright and sunny, which is great for our exposure, but we do need to consider that direct sunlight leaves hard shadows. Okay, so the first thing to do is soften our key light window. I'm using the Westcott Scrim Gym with 1 1/4 stop diffusion. We set up a C-stand, which allows us to position it precisely, up high and perpendicular to the sun. Now we have softer light coming through the windows, but it looks to me like the background is too bright. There's not much contrast between the foreground and the background, it's all a similar flat colour. We can change that by closing the blinds on the back 2 windows, another benefit of this location. I think this has more depth because it brings out our character, separating him from the background. But most windows don't have blinds, so how else could we achieve this look? We can block light with a large flag on a C-stand, rotating it to control exactly how much light is coming through. I've done the low budget version of this on the other window, just taking a cheap reflector, clipping it to a light stand and leaning it against the window. So now the blinds are open, but we've still kept that darker background. You can really see the difference when we compare it to before we blocked off those windows. And then here's the version with the closed blinds. We didn't have much control, so I prefer it when we could flag the light away from that bottom right corner. And then top left, you can also see that I moved that cheese grater because it was really distracting having something so bright and high contrast in the corner like that. Now I'm fairly happy with this setup, but we are limited by natural light. I'm not a big fan of this nose shadow. It would probably look better if we could just raise the sun up a little bit higher, which would move that shadow down. But we're stuck with it, and it's only going to get worse as the day goes on, as well as getting darker. So what if we needed something dramatically different from what the available light gave us? First I'm going to bring in the Westcott Skylux LED and position it outside that back window. I've closed the blinds again so that we get that classic film noir look. And by the way, we don't need actual Venetian blinds for this effect. It can be achieved with gaffer's tape between 2 light stands or cardboard cutouts, anything that's the right shape. And then I just make sure the light is nice and high up, which works for noir, and also helps our composition, giving us leading lines towards where our character will be standing. Now, it's pretty much impossible to get this look with an LED panel or a fluorescent tube. We need a small single light source to get those crisp shadows. So next is our key light. Now, I will put lighting diagrams on the blog post, which is linked below, but the gist of it is that for a film noir look, I'm placing another Skylux pretty much where the sun was in our last setup, but much higher up. I also closed the blinds on that front window for even more Venetian blinds shadows. Lastly, I made sure there was no spill from the key light onto the background with a flag, which meant that we had a nice pocket of shadow at the back of the room. Then we can do the classic move out of a silhouette into the light, which can be a dramatic way to introduce a character. My only issue with this setup is that the gun could do with some rim light. We can't really see it properly. So I'd like to finish by saying that this really was a great location. Not only do the windows help motivate our light, but they also meant that I didn't have to worry about hiding lights and grip gear in the corners of the room. And I guess that's what it comes down to. We probably give too much credit to the lighting, when often it's the location and the production design that are really making the difference. My name's Simon Cade, this has been DSLRguide, and I'll see you next week.